Hey y'all, it's Stacy with SouthernBite.com. Today we're in the kitchen making a quick and easy weeknight meal. This is my sheet pan brown sugar garlic pork loin filet. Now, I know it's a mouthful, but it's so easy. To start, we're gonna make our dry rub. What I have here is about a half a cup of light brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, about a quarter teaspoon of black pepper, and 4 cloves of garlic that we've minced up really finely. We're just gonna stir this together until it's all combined. And I have about a 2-pound pork loin filet here. Now this is not the same thing as a pork tenderloin. So make sure when you're in the grocery store that you're getting a pork loin filet. And I'll explain why that's important here in just a second. So all we're gonna do is just put this right on top of our pork loin filet here and just press it in just a little bit. We wanna make sure that we get that nice and coated with that rub. This is a great sweet and salty kind of rub that complements the pork perfectly. Let me wash my hands quickly here. Now the reason that we mentioned the pork loin filet and it being important is because when you have these sheet pan meals, you want everything to cook together at the same time. It's also important that we have our vegetables cut correctly too, because we want to make sure that they're going to cook equally as our pork loin. So I have about 1.5 pounds of sweet potatoes that I have in 1/2-inch chunks. I've got about 1 pound of Brussels sprouts. Now, if your Brussels sprouts are larger than about 1 inch, you're going to want to cut those in half also. We're going to drizzle this with about 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or olive oil. Here's about 1.5 teaspoons of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. We're just gonna mix this together. We're just gonna coat this with our oil and get it tossed in the seasonings. Now I've got a sheet pan here that's got, it's a rimmed baking sheet. We wanna make sure of that so that we don't end up with juices all inside the oven. We're gonna spread these out right on top of our sheet pan. I've sprayed this with a little non-stick cooking spray also, just to give us a little head start. And I've also lined this with aluminum foil. It's not a necessary step, but it does make cleanup a little bit easier. We're gonna put our pork filet right in the middle. This is gonna go in a 425-degree oven for 35 to 40 minutes. We wanna make sure that that pork loin filet cooks to about 145 degrees. We've got one ready here. A meat thermometer comes in great here because you can make sure that you get that pork loin cooked perfectly without it overcooking so it stays nice and juicy. Remember, you can get this recipe and hundreds more on my website at SouthernBite.com. Y'all enjoy.
Mary, who knew there was such a difference between pork loin, pork tenderloin, and pork loin filet?
They are similar, but Stacy says if you use pork loin or pork tenderloin, your cooking times will be off. So to make sure everything gets done at the same time, just double check and make sure you have that pork loin filet.
And many thanks to the Alabama pork producers for sponsoring Stacy's sheet pan, brown sugar, garlic, pork loin filet recipe.
The name is a mouthful, but a mouthful of the dish is even better.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching Simply Southern today. On next week's show, we'll check on a project we told you about 4 years ago, the restoration of the fire tower on Flag Mountain in Coosa County.
And we'll see how farmers are coping with a problem we're all facing, inflation. I'm Kevin Worthington.
And I'm Mary Wilson. We'll see you then. Simply Southern is produced by the Alabama Farmers Federation and made possible with the support of Alabama Farmers Cooperative and these sponsors.